Welcome home, where we provide information, inspiration, and motivator after motivator after motivator. Here on America's Next, I have Nick King here with me today. How you doing, Nick?
Amazing, man. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great as well. I see you in the studio.
Yeah, I created this little atmosphere for myself during COVID, man. It helped me keep my peace and sanity.
That's right. That's right. How has the pandemic affected your lifestyle and your routine? Talk about it.
Man, because I'm an introvert naturally, right? I felt like the rest of the world was kind of going crazy because they couldn't really go out. But for me, it was normal, like being in my home environment, being in my own space, being to myself. That was like normalcy to me. So like all I did was kind of add on. So I kind of decorated and designed majority of this during COVID and grabbed a couple other things just to kind of, keep me mentally sane, some books and things like that, during that downtime. But, the isolation wasn't really that much of a difference for me because that's something that I'm generally pretty used to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Would you say that you've had something in the works for some time now due to you being an introvert, that you were already kind of germinating on something probably several years ago up to now?
I feel like everything that we do in life is a build up for a greater purpose. So I've always said, especially talking to like friends and family, I'm like, one day I'm gonna hit, one day I'm gonna catch something, that all this time has built up and all the things that I've learned and different business models that I've cultivated and things like that. I was like, one day it's gonna build up for something bigger. And I agree with that point 100%. I feel like this was definitely the time to where the world got time to kind of like sit still, which is different, So, outside of me, like I said, being an introvert, being in my own space, I was always still kind of like on the move about what I want to do next. But this time really gave me more time to sit back and reflect a little bit more and go, all right, what's next? What do I need to work on for myself? And how do we move forward, to end the year and start the new year?
Sure. I want to say hi to everybody who's coming into the building. Thanks for joining us, being a part of this episode. I also got some cool new t-shirts from my guy, Wreck-It Mike. He has a gaming channel. He sent me these t-shirts this morning. So I just want to let everybody know that I'm rocking his brand today. I like your brand as well. Proud Puffs. Proud Puffs.
Yes, sir.
All right. Yeah, we'll talk about that today as well. Now, let's talk about your childhood. Where did you grow up and what was it like for you?
So I grew up in Stamford, Connecticut.
Okay.
Childhood for me, single, dad was kind of in and out. I've joked about it a lot. Like the song "Papa Was a Rolling Stone." I was like, I feel like that was about my dad. He's moving and shaking, man. When he popped in, he'd hang out for a little while, and then he made the dash and was back out, man. But I feel like just like anything else, man, a lot of that stuff kind of molded me to who I am. Obviously I still have my certain things that we're all gonna have certain things that we still need to work on, related to childhood. But the bigger piece was mom's at home, holding it down, showing us exactly what the actual work ethic was like. She gets up, goes to work, comes home, cooks, cleans, makes sure we're all right, and starting the cycle all over again. Pretty big family.
Yeah, big family. How many siblings did you have?
Man, see, I feel like I always have to like look up and count anytime.
It's like counting the tiles on the ceiling, huh?
Yeah. So immediately, well, at least at that time, early childhood, it was me and my two sisters and my younger brother. But then we've grown and blossomed into such a bigger family now. But prior to that, it was really chasing around my older sisters. My little brother was too young for me to really vibe with and build with at that time. So I learned everything from the women, from the women of the household. That's where I got everything from.
What would you say was your top two lessons that you got from the women in your life that you could pass on to us today?
Top two lessons. So I gotta attribute work ethic to my mom. You know, like I said,
Okay.
you know, just being able to get up super early, 7 a.m., go to work, you know, work 8, 9, 10 hours, come home, you know, cook, clean, make sure we're doing what we have to do. You know, again, chasing around, you know, kids at that time, it's like, you know, by yourself is exhausting. So work ethic is definitely number one. Number two, man, it's really, you know, definitely helped me, you know, later stages of life, communication with women, you know,
Okay.
just building relations, asking them questions, you know, watching how they navigate through that definitely helped me out a lot as well. So
What do you think about communication with women? Where do you see that a lot of men go wrong in communicating with women, and how can we make that a better thing?
So I think the biggest thing that happens, and one of the things I learned about myself, especially during the pandemic, when I sat and reflected about a lot. I think a lot of the times men, we obviously we don't necessarily feel the same way women feel. You know what I mean? They may take a situation that we may deem as small, you know, and they're, why are you even worried about that? So we're, you know, at that point we're like kind of like negating their feelings. We're like, it's not that serious. But a lot of those things are serious to them. You know what I mean? So it really took me, you know, to really sit there and self-reflect and be like, you know what? Versus telling someone like, I don't know why you feel that way, or you shouldn't feel that way. You know what I mean? Dive a little deeper. Like, okay, so I understand that you feel that way. I don't want to negate your feelings. I don't want to minimize your feelings. Tell me more. Tell me why you feel that way. And let's communicate out of that space. You know what I mean? Let me have a better understanding and learning empathy. Man, that was a bigger thing. Not just in empathy in life, because that kind of comes naturally, but learning empathy in a space, understand something, you're also seeking to understand, and then you can empathize and why that person may potentially be in that space, if that makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I think sometimes men are anti-empathy, if you will.
Yeah.
You know,
I can see that.
It's almost like a characteristic that we instill in one another, or that the previous generation has instilled in a lot of us. You know, and I never want to make a general statement for everybody, but I do see it a lot that, you know, sometimes a person's idea of manhood is, listen, I am me, you are you. I work with a gentleman regularly who always talks about, you know, doing for yourself, the importance of doing for yourself, thinking about yourself, knowing what's going on with yourself. And I don't know that we do enough training for young men on relating to what other people is going through, realizing how my feelings are connected to your feelings. Don't lie to yourself.
Right.
You know,
I think the biggest part there is feelings. You know, like early on, we're kind of taught to turn that off. You know what I mean? So that's where the machismo comes out. That's where the, you know, like I don't feel anything. I'm fine. I can kind of, you know what I mean, break through anything and do whatever I want, you know. But man, when it hits, you know, when we feel it, we feel it. So there's definitely a lot of unlearning, you know what I mean, that a lot of men, including myself, need to do to where we can be, you know, better fathers, you know, better partners, you know what I mean, better friends, you know what I mean? Like I just started learning, you know what I mean, to say I love you to, you know, with my friends and family. Like that was a weird feeling for me originally.
Yeah.
And so like once I started doing that, I was like, all right, it's, you know, it's not bad, but it's not something that I was generally accustomed, you know?
Yeah, I agree with you with the love thing too. I am like 10 times more likely to feel comfortable telling a woman that I love her versus a man. And you know, I am figuring out like how to communicate that, you know, to other men. Because nobody is an island. We do need to know that, you know, the other men in our life is more than just an associate. We need to feel like we've got homeboys. You know what I'm saying? We need to feel like we've got, you know, other men who we can sharpen our thoughts with.
Definitely.
You know, we need those types of fraternal bonds, you know. And so it does make a difference to let somebody in your life know, whether it be a cousin or brother or uncle, you know, or a little brother, that, hey man, I love you, man.
Yeah. We
got to normalize that.
Agreed 100%. And I think it's pulling yourself out of the comfort zone. So like, I don't know if you're on Clubhouse yet, but I recently joined the Clubhouse app, and there's a room called Love Bomb, to where everybody takes time, and it's usually like 70, 80 to 100 people in the room. Everybody takes time, and they pick 2 people to compliment, a girl and a guy, you know. So getting in that comfortable space to say, you know, the complimenting a woman is easy. You got a beautiful smile, you have a great spirit, you know what I mean? Then you get to the guy, and you're like, hey, brother, you look, you know, it's a great jacket, you know. It's like,
right.
Why is that? You know, it's that weird space, but you know, getting comfortable, getting yourself out of that comfortable space, like, hey, brother, man, you know, smooth haircut, you know what I mean? Like, vibrating good energy, man. You know, so getting yourself in that space to where you're comfortable, man. I like I said, I think we have a lot of unlearning to do, but I think we're headed in the right direction, and that's the best part. You know,
Me too.
Far along.
You know, I've seen some growth. I've seen some growth by people. I've heard over the past, actually, man, for about the past 10 years. I remember when I was in high school, when everybody started calling each other bruh.
Gotcha.
You know, it was like a major boom of everybody calling each other bruh, or it was really bruh. And then when I heard that, I was like, man, the last time I heard somebody say the word bruh, it was like the early 90s. And it was like 2 40-year-old guys, you know, who were way older than me, you know, but we brought that back, you know, calling each other bruh, calling each other bro, you know, and it's grown because now we call each other even more endearing terms like king, you know, how you doing, king? You know, I hope that your life is blessed, king. How your family doing, king? You know, and some people take it further than that. And so I definitely see growth there.
Definitely.
With how we look at each other. And speaking of that, I see you as a successful man, and I see you as going to high places. And I'm happy to have you on the show today.
I appreciate the invitation. You know, obviously inviting up your platform, you know, giving it to somebody else to speak and grow their brand is big. And I know this is what you do as far in the journalism space, but no, man, that's super huge, man. So I definitely appreciate it. When you said, when you reached out, I was like, yes, it's definitely a no-brainer, man. And I love what you do with your show and your platform. So thank you.
For sure. So what did your life look like in middle school?
Ooh, middle school.
Hey, hold on. Hey, feel free to drop comments in the chat, everybody. Join our conversation, join our community, because when you put your thoughts into it, it helps us to have more of an excellent, candid conversation, which is what we do here. Hey, when you took that side, when I asked you how was middle school, I'm like, man, this guy was having a ball in middle school, man.
Middle school was cool. You know, I went through, I started in one school for 6 and 7, which was great. You know, you meet up with a lot of people that you went to elementary school with. So it just kind of carried on. And no, that was definitely like a space, you know, like you said, had a ball. There was nothing that we didn't do, you know, little middle school parties and hangouts, etc. Like that was cool. I think the transition was going into for 8th grade was different for me because I didn't know anybody. Literally, like I walked into, you know, 8th grade year, I walked into a school and I'm like, I know no one. So being naturally introverted, I was kind of like, I'm gonna stay to myself. You know what I mean? Wow. Like I didn't really want to talk and build to anybody because that was uncomfortable, and I wasn't even in the headspace to do that. So you know, eventually, and it took a very long time, probably half of the school year, before I actually really kind of grew out of that space. But yeah, no, 8th grade was not my favorite year. Actually, I met my best friend in 8th grade, and that's what kind of helped me, you know, grow out of that introverted space a little bit, but it was still kind of close knit. But
did you go to a new school for 8th grade?
Yeah, 8th grade was a new. So my mom moved. We moved a lot, and I think we actually moved George Jefferson a reference, but we kind of moved on up. Like we started on the west side of Stanford, which was, you know what I mean, in theory, I guess you can call it like the hood. And we definitely transitioned as many times as we moved. It was always a move in a better direction. So again, kind of attributed that to mom. You know, like she moved us completely out of that space until, you know, we got to an area where in Connecticut to where I think it was, man, maybe 10 Black people, you know what I mean, at that time. And that might be overshooting it. You know, my little sisters, when they went to school, it was them, you know what I mean? So at that point, it was like two, maybe 3 Black girls in their whole school. So mom definitely did a really good job of, you know, growing and putting us in the best environments.
How did that feel when y'all made that move up? You know, when you walked into your new home and you probably had your own room and you knew that you were in a better community.
Yeah.
How did that affect your perspective of yourself, your mom, and your future?
It was different because you get accustomed. You know what you know. You know, so the environment at that time, it you know, as you kind of say, like it was, you know, like I would say, like it was the hood. You know, if we're terming it that way, you don't feel like it is at that time. You know what I mean? Like you're like, this is life. You know what I mean? Like, this is what I know. I've only been in this area a majority of my life. So this is kind of what I know. My friends are my friends. You know what I mean? The neighborhood looks like what it does. You know what I mean? When I go to the local corner store, like that's the grocery store. You know what I mean? You're not telling me anything different. I get all my food.
That's the grocery store.
That's what it was.
Hey, let's spend some time on that right there. Because for a lot of us, the corner store it's a place where you go for a lot of daily necessities. You know?
Yeah. There was nothing that we didn't, and it was actually like it was a meat market / corner store. So that's the like in hindsight thinking about it, like that was our grocery store. We got our deli meat, we got our cheese, we got our milk, we got our cereal, we got our bread. Like that's groceries. So when mom said go downstairs, because it was literally downstairs from us, she was like, go downstairs and grab these things. And we go down there and grab those things. And sometimes, you know, I think they built a really good relationship. So mom would be like, she would like, tell Joe, I got him on Friday. And I'd be like, Mom, man, she got you Friday. And he'd be like, well, go get what you want. And that's how our relationship was. So not until we moved to the new neighborhood, I'm like, whoa, this is a really big corner store, you know, like the grocery store was completely different. Going to, you know, having a washer and dryer at home was completely different from going to the laundromat and sitting there for hours, you know, sweating, you know what I mean? So it was two different worlds. And I think some of it was, I had to get accustomed to it. I think we all did, until we started realizing like, wow, they're 2 different worlds.
That's right.
And that was like the biggest reality check for us. Like, okay, I thought this was normal, but it's not normal to a certain demographic, but there's a completely different world on the other side.
So when you start moving into better environments, it opens your eyes. And I mean, on one hand, there's humor in it because all the corner store had was yellow bananas and maybe a few apples, but now you're going to the local store and you're getting plums and you're getting mangoes and you know you're getting organic this and organic that, and it's just there's a little bit of humor in that, but in all reality you're like, oh, my life could change for the better, and it could get better and better and better. And so once you see that little bit of upward mobility, it can help you to project your life up and forward exponentially. So that's the point I want to draw out about that. Shout out to all the parents who are doing the very best they can to get their family in a higher space, because it makes a deep impact on everybody. And it brings you out of your shell a little bit more. You feel a little bit safer. Yeah. Definitely. So now, what was going on with you in high school? Did you start to get more involved? Did you start to kind of fill out a little bit more?
So I started working a little early, you know, when my dad came around, might have been around the middle school time is when my dad started coming back around. You know, I remember telling him at one point that I wanted to, I think I called him because, you know, mom would take me to like Caldors, which I guess is like Walmart. And she'd be like, this is where you're going to do your school shopping. You're going to get 7 different colors of turtlenecks. And we'll get you a couple pairs of pants, and that's your school wardrobe. So I knew going into the new school, I was like, I can't go in there looking like this. So I remember reaching out to my dad, and I was like, I need I need school clothes.
Air Force Ones.
Yeah, please help me. Help me. Like I think the Jerry Stackhouses was out maybe around that time.
Right.
I'm like, this is what I need. And I think it was FUBU. There was a couple different brands out around that time frame.
Right.
And he was like, well, I'm not gonna just give it to you, and I'm already like, all right, whatever, you know what I mean? And he was like, no, if you want it, you're gonna come work for it. So he owned his own carpet business, and I remember him saying, wake up tomorrow at 5:30. And he had a big blue van that made the auga sound. It was super annoying, really loud. And I remember 5:30 that morning, he came and beat that horn, had a little cup of coffee for me. I don't know. I was super young, but he was like, that's going to get you awake. And we installed carpet, man, for hours. And we did that for the whole summer. And I was able to get my school clothes that year. So going into high school, I already started, I think I might have had my first job officially the summer of going into high school. So I was already in work mode, to be honest. Like I wasn't much of a student because all I was excited for was when I leave here, I'm going to work.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like I was there, I was present. I wasn't a cool kid, you know what I mean? But I wasn't not. So I knew the cool kids. Cool kids knew me. We were cool, but I wasn't necessarily in that cool space. Again, I still had my best friend, and I kind of cultivated a small circle, and that was good enough for me. So every once in a while, I'll dip out and hang out with the cool kids, but I'd also go right back to my small circle, and then I'd be going to work, and that was high school for me.
Right.
It wasn't great grades. It wasn't, you know what I mean? Like I wasn't. I say I excelled as a student. I took in what I needed, and then I went to work after school. That was my ritual.
That's real.
Yeah.
That's real. And I'm liking your life, man. I'm liking it.
Right.
What's something that you learned from your father when you were laying that carpet? I know you learned something.
Yeah.
Can you share it with us today?
It's I guess it goes in parallel with my mom, her actual work ethic. So like I said, she would get up early in the morning and go to work. His side was the entrepreneurial side. Like, okay, I own this. You know what I mean? So when he comes in and it's me and another guy, he's directing us. All right, I need you to go lay the tack. I need you to go grab the carpet. Y'all get the carpet out the car. I'm going to go talk to the business owner or whoever owns the house. So watching him navigate that space and then pay me or pay his employees was the other side of the business. So it was like work ethic and then ownership. So his side, I found a little bit more on the ownership side, where I'm like, wow, okay, I like that. It's clear that you're the boss. Everyone knows on all ends, and I like that energy. That was big for me, for sure.
Talk to us a little bit about how to lay carpet. You don't just roll it out and walk out.
Right.
How do you lay carpet?
Oh man, I'm trying to think if I remember fully.
You mentioned laying tack.
Yeah, if there was pre-carpet already on there. Let me see if I can remember. If it was pre-carpet already on there, obviously just ripping the old carpet off. There was a level of padding in between that. So if that padding was already good, then you can just kind of literally lay the carpet back on top. But if it wasn't, then you're literally ripping everything off, laying tack on all sides, obviously measurement of the carpet.
What is tack? What is tack?
So there's a long piece of, I don't want to say plywood, but I'm gonna call it plywood because there's no one can fact check me right now. There was a long piece of like plywood, really, really thin. There were nails in it, and I believe either the nails held down the layer of foam on top of it, and then you would put the carpet on top of that foam, which kind of gave it that padding. Because if you put the carpet on wood, it'll just hollow sound, and that's why carpet have that comfort feeling on it. I could be 100% wrong. It's been years, but I know it's somewhere in that actual order.
Okay, great. What would you say to a young man or a young woman out there who would like to become an entrepreneur someday in their life? They're not there yet, but they foresee, just like you did when you were younger, that day is gonna come. Do you have any tips for them?
Ooh, yeah, that's two of the easiest ones. One, bet on yourself. That is the biggest thing I can. Listen, I've tried my whole life to cultivate a collective. You know, I'll grab a couple guys and we can build this. And honestly, a lot of those times were ended in disappointment. You know, I'll percent focused on work, and then someone would be like, I'm gonna go to the club, or I'm gonna hang out with my girlfriend today, or I kind of lost interest in that, and I'm the one just kind of sitting there going, you know, like very, you know, lonely on an island, you know. So what I, especially, you know, present day where I'm at now, I navigated this business alone. There isn't a team around me, and I would have loved to have that, you know, because I would have loved to kind of celebrate and share the moment with a collective of people. But I really had to notice one day, like sometimes it's just you, and you have to go all in on yourself. So that's definitely number one. And second, just spring into action. You know what I mean? Like you can, you know, think about the idea, cultivate the idea, research the idea. Once you get past those things, you have to start putting down actionable items. Like that's without that, you just have a dream. So to go into action, so, you know, when people ask me like, how did you start a cereal company? It must have been that difficult. It must have been hard. It's not. The idea sounds a lot harder than the actual actionable items of it. You know, I just took the idea, did the research, and then sprung right into action once I gathered all the information I needed. So I think those two things are, for me, I would say, winning combination for sure.
How many hats did you have to wear in the building of your brand?
I'm still wearing I'm still wearing multiple hats. Like I said, I'm doing marketing, I'm doing research, I'm packing, I'm doing the creative side as far as the design of the product. Some of it is being outsourced, but I'm coming to them with an idea. A lot of hats. And obviously if I had a actual corporate structure, it would be a lot easier. But again, you know, I hadn't let myself down yet. And I think that's the biggest part. You know, if I had to, you know, not saying necessarily what would have happened, but if you mentioned we had an interview today, 10 a.m. If I had to gather a bunch of people so we can get on a Zoom call, the process of that would have been a lot. Someone would have been like, it's too early, I can't make it. Maybe see if he wants to do it at 12 versus me. You know, I went to bed at maybe 2:30 in the morning, you know, and I don't sleep straight through the night. You know, I probably woke back up at like 5, stayed up till 7, went back to bed, and then was like, Cedric said, got to get up early, you know? So betting on myself and just going, you know what, Nick, it's you. You got to get up. You got to make sure you do these interviews. You got to set your calendar. That was the process, you know? So I don't necessarily mind wearing all these hats.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking to Nick King. This man has done something big, which we'll unpack, unzip, and unlock in the second half of the show. We'll be right back with more from Nick King. America's Next Motivator, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern, Tuesday and Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern. America's Next Motivator, hosted by me, Cedric Riley, and sponsored by the Pride Empowerment Network. And we're back. Nick, how you feeling out there?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. Great energy. I don't know if people see like the behind the scenes stuff that you have going as far as like your ads. Like this is top notch. Like, I hope you're ready for the next level for 2021 because this is pretty amazing.
Absolutely. Now, when everybody was dealing with possible downshifts, definitely changing their daily routines, some people's lives were totally altered by the changes we had to make due to the pandemic. What did you do during that time that impacted your life today?
I say a majority of that, I don't know what we're looking at, that very much the summer. So those few months was a lot of self-reflecting. I think I put a lot of time working on myself and finding out, in theory, what was wrong. What did I need to fix to take me to the next level? You know what I mean? Whether it was reading research, you know, I'm not the best. This may sound small, but I'm not the best with grammar sometimes and punctuation. Like I'm terrible, you know what I mean? Like that's something I had to learn. And I took that time and, you know, I went on YouTube, and whether it was a regular video of a guy just kind of navigating us through it, or almost like a I don't know, what, 6th grade level video of them like really dumbing, and there was animations and going, this is where you put the comma and this is where you put the period. You know, granted, I'm in, you know, in my 30s, but like, I'm like, this is something I need to learn. So, you know, whether it was something like that or just, again, something that I needed to work on with myself, how do I communicate? You know what I mean? What's my level of communication? Do I know how to efficiently express how I'm feeling? And do I know what I'm feeling right now? You know, that was a lot of, I think people don't realize how much what goes on inside your mind is a big component of how you navigate your day to communicate with others. So self-reflection, right, super big for me. That was right, the majority of my quarantine time.
Let's make this a victorious moment for everybody who's watching now and in retrospect. We have to take the periods of our lives where things slow down, things sort of come to a halt, to work on other areas of our lives. Don't ever stop. Don't ever sit still where you are and just keep your seatbelt on and not do anything. Rearrange something, learn something new, whether it be a personal development skill, a DIY project in your home, or starting a new business, getting active online. We are going through a huge paradigm shift in the world right now. And I want our people to keep up. When I say our people, I'm talking about any and everybody who supports America's Next Motivator, drops comments, is under the sound of my voice at any given time. I want you to know we are all shifting right now. We're figuring out how to thrive in an increasingly global society.
Definitely. I agree 100%.
Yeah. Your job is fine. Your trade on the side is fine. Your hustle is fine. Add something else too.
Right.
Add something else too.
It's funny you say that. I had that conversation with a friend of mine where he was like, I forgot what we were talking about, but he was like, listen, that's just who I am. And I'm like, well, no, like, you know what I mean? Like, you can't just take a bad trait and say that's who I am. Like, grow out of that. You can say that's who I am now. You know what I mean?
That's right.
You say that's who I am now, and I'm learning to grow out of that. But just say that's who I am. That's not right. That doesn't make it right. That doesn't make it enough.
Right.
That's who you've been your whole life, sure. But how do you actually progress forward? So I completely agree with everything you just said.
You know, I've seen people, and we can popcorn some of these because I'm sure you've seen some people do some things as well. I've seen people start their own podcasts. Definitely. I've seen people start their own gift wrapping company. You know, much appreciation to that young lady, Clara Stanford, who started her own gift wrapping company. I've seen people take their imagination and their creativity to the next level. I've seen people create CMOS companies. Yeah. You know, all during this period of time where, you know, you could have just sat still, but you said, no, I'm going to figure out how to continue to thrive during this time. I've seen a lot of people create businesses, and I'm really excited at the shift. You mentioned Clubhouse.
Yep.
Clubhouse came about during the pandemic. There's a lot of people who are networking on Clubhouse, figuring out what one another's doing. Everybody's doing something. Make sure that you're doing something out there.
Right.
Nick, you created your own cereal brand. Let's get into it.
Yeah. No, I agree with that completely. You know, and I think the key word is something. Not everyone has to build a business. You know what I mean? Like that let's make that clear. Not everyone has to build a business, but doing something, moving your foot in some way, whether it's focusing on your health or now that you have time to be home, if you have children, build a better relationship with your children. You know what I mean? Like something could be a plethora of things, but it's not just saying, woe is me, pandemic's here, can't do this. I'm just going to lay here until it goes away. But yeah, so for me, you know, that was the biggest time. Like I said, I self-reflected And, you know, one day God gave me an amazing idea at 3 o'clock in the morning. And I started springing into action, doing my research, finding out all the information I needed, legal side, but also going back into the creative side of me going, what do I want my first cereal product to actually look like? Do I want to just release a product, or do I want a company? So that was one of the bigger things. And then when I realized that I wanted to start a company, I said, wow, okay, I am Kellogg's. I am General Mills. This is the space in for one time, and I'm back out. I'm building a full-on brand. And the day I decided that, I was just like, I'm doing something. I think I'm going to end up doing something special with this. You know, it's not going to just be a cereal. Yeah.
You know what? We have to pay attention to our thoughts, especially those thoughts that occur during our lucid dreaming hours. You know, from 3 to 6 in the morning. If you've never done it before, try to wake up at 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And just feel the nebula of your mind during that hour. You'll find that your thoughts are clear. They're almost clairvoyant. They're intelligent. You wake up naturally, of course. Sometimes the alarm clock, it startles me, and it makes me kind of jump into reality really fast. Right. But even then, after I calm down, my mind is still a very vibrant place with ideas. Try to wake up one day, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, and just listen to your mind. You might catch something. Remember when we were in school and people used to make those things? They were called dream catchers.
Definitely. Yeah. Definitely.
Between the hours of 3 and 6 o'clock is the best time to catch your dream.
Listen, wake up. I agree 100% with those sentiments. That was it. When I tell you, it was, it's 3 o'clock, literally 3 o'clock in the morning. I just kind of remember just being startled awake, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, whoa, where's this idea coming from? My bed, and I'm super stubborn because I'm like, cereal company. It doesn't make sense. And I remember kind of just going, like everybody, you know, you grab your phone. So I remember going on Instagram, and this was during, unfortunately, when George Floyd was murdered. So everything there was, you know, these big companies were sending out press statements, initiatives, and voices, and what they're going to do going forward, and everything was you know, shop black and, you know, promoting black businesses. So I went in there and I was like, black owned cereal company. So I, you know, get on Google, I'm typing it. I'm like, let me see, there must be one. And I found nothing. And I'm like, wow. Okay. Wow. Yeah, exactly. I was like, okay. So then, you know, I don't know why I cross-reference everything with Instagram. I go to Instagram real quick and I type in hashtag black owned cereal. Nothing. And then I was like, wide awake. I went downstairs, did my favorite thing. I don't know if anybody else does it, but orange juice at 3 a.m. is the greatest thing in the world. I don't know what it is about the palate.
Okay.
It's just it revitalizes you. Amazing.
Right.
But I remember just sitting in the kitchen, and I would say I'm definitely a little bit more spiritual than religious. But I'm, you know, sipping some delicious orange juice, and I remember saying, I said, God, this has to be your idea, because I have no idea where this idea came from. You know what I mean? And I was like, so before I leave this kitchen, I need a name. And I just remember kind of just saying it out loud in the kitchen. And you know, couple sips in, I'm leaning, and literally, I promise you, when I say the word proud pops into my head. And I'm like, oh, at that point, mind blown. Like, I asked the question and I got an answer. And from there, I know I didn't. I didn't go back to sleep. You know, that was probably maybe 3:30 at that time when I started making my way back upstairs after the word proud popped in my head. And I'm just in my room in this little area here going proud puffs. And it was game on ever since. And
you know what? Let's get some hearts and likes in the building for this experience that Nick had. Ladies and gentlemen, please put some hearts and likes in the building. Let's get some applause. And let's really celebrate this moment right here. We've gotta do something like what he did. He woke up, he had a thought, he went and searched for it, couldn't find it. Now, most of the things that you type into the search engine, they're gonna pop up.
Right.
Most of the things that you look for on Instagram, they're gonna pop up.
Mm-hmm.
If you come up with an idea and you go out there to search for it and you can't find anything,
right.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, no,
hey,
that was the moment.
Hey, you got something.
Right.
How many thoughts do you think of on a daily basis that are not on Google? They are not on Instagram. That's your $1 million idea being gifted to you by the universe.
There it is.
Listen.
That's why they let up. Yeah.
Listen to yourself. You say, oh, okay, that doesn't sound like something I would have just thought of on purpose. Let me go out there and see if it's out there. If it's not out there, don't go back to sleep.
Right.
You got something.
Exactly. No, that's big. Yeah.
Man, it's so big. It's huge. It's almost like they say, you know, only 3% of people are actually going to make it to the professional level.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the cream of the crop, 10%, 3 to 10%.
Yeah.
That's your opportunity to be in that 3 to 10% when you get an idea and it's a novel idea. And like you said, spring into action, start branding it, start making it happen. So now you are a Black-owned, minority-owned cereal brand.
Yep.
Proud Puffs. It makes me think of a little black or brown girl with two little corn puffs in her head.
Yeah. It's still waiting on data. I don't even know how we're gonna officially actually I do have it. So I'm actually in the process of trying to narrow that down to see if that's exactly it. So what we've gotten so far, because we haven't been able to find it anywhere else, is I am the first Black-owned cereal company in the US. And I'll take that. I'll take that title right now because we haven't been able to identify it anywhere else, whether it's social media or a blog site or anywhere else online. But outside of that, although it's a great thing to be a part of, to be the first of anything is amazing. Culturally impacting that space has been the biggest and the best thing of actually showing representation in that food and beverage space has been huge since I actually made the announcement.
Excellent. Now, have you put any thought into the ingredients of the cereal?
Definitely.
Okay.
That was, man, I would say after after worrying about the legalities of, getting the name trademarked, et cetera, I went straight into ingredients, and for multiple reasons. We know that around the world right now, there's food deserts. There's a lack of nutritional value, foods that are healthy for people in these food deserts. So I was like, you know what? I can't be just knowing that, yes, a black man owns a cereal company is great, right? The idea is great. Even the messaging on the box, amazing. But if I'm just feeding anyone, you know what I mean, but directing, just saying our culture, if I'm just feeding culture, just a sugary cereal filled with dyes and, you know what I mean, like garbage in theory, if I'm feeding them with that, it's not the same. You know what I mean? Like it kind of dilutes whatever the message was or whatever space I'm in. So making sure that my cereal had nutritious value was super important. So we're making sure it was vegan friendly, which wasn't that hard. Making sure it didn't have large contents of sugar, but still a tasteful cereal was very important as well. So no, ingredients were super big, super high on the list. Because I make sure myself that I'm putting, nutritional products in my body. So I had to make sure that I'm giving it out to the people as well.
Let's now shake the room a little bit.
Okay.
You have an opportunity to be a hero,
even
more than you already are. You're already a hero, but you have an opportunity to be even more of a hero because there's a lot of people who are still counting on that corner store and there being something in there that actually has nutritional value.
Yeah.
Now, for me, when I was going to the corner store when I was a kid, it was a cereal called King Vitamins.
Wow.
And I ate a lot of that cereal because it was called King Vitamins. I got older and it was just a standard, cereal brand. But you have an opportunity to I believe you have an opportunity to put some things in that cereal that are going to be really fortifying for the consumer.
Definitely.
And I think that's one of the ways that you're going to be an absolute pioneer in the food and beverage space.
Appreciate
now,
that.
Yeah. So the ingredients that you put in that cereal, I think is going to be absolutely huge. Are you conscious about avoiding GMOs?
Definitely. All just anything. I mean, we've eliminated gluten as of right now as well. All those things are super important. So as of right now, because again, we're still moving some things around, but our mission statement, I don't believe that's going to actually change. It's to be the brand where nutrition and representation matters. You know what I mean? So it's taking both sides that are actually really important. Obviously, what you put in your body, you know what I mean, dictates how you feel, how you think, etc. That's one big portion of it, right? But then also the representation of our culture, you know what I mean? Culturally representing to where we're showing something positive and we're occupying that space where we can say, listen, if you want to be in this food and beverage space, if you want to be in CPG products, it's possible. You know what I mean? So for anybody that's watching, be the first, whatever, black Listerine company, you know what I mean? Be the first,
right.
X,
that's right.
You know what I mean? Like a milk company, like you can do anything. It's
That's
not
right.
that hard. You just have to take your idea of whatever you're passionate about and spring to action. And I think that's the biggest piece. But yeah, no, definitely on the nutrition side, that's not something I'm willing to compromise. The biggest thing is all I said was, and I remember telling this to our food scientists, I said, I want it as healthy as possible, but I also wanted to give a good balance of obviously taste. This is going to kids, not just going to adults. So if the kids is like, mommy, the box is great, I love it, but it doesn't taste good, then you know what I mean? Like mission failed. So giving a good balance between both was super important. That's not something I was willing to compromise.
Have you? Yeah, I got 3 questions at one time, man, because okay. I'm so into the journey that you're presenting today. I think it's extremely cool.
I appreciate it.
But I'm going to jump ahead because you mentioned your lack of willingness to compromise. What are you doing? What are you doing to protect yourself from a company coming and saying, "Hey, listen, you cornered the market. We want to buy your brand for $500 million." And not going to lie to you, we are going to commercialize all the ingredients in order to streamline the process of making Proud Puffs, in the homes of billions of people.
Right.
How are you preparing to say, no, I got to keep the integrity and the quality of my cereal intact?
I think the biggest part is just knowing. So actually, I'll give you the exclusive. A week into me making the announcement, I got on Clubhouse, and I was in some powerful rooms. And one of the people that were moderating on stage was like, I want to talk to you. Like let's move into a room. We exchanged information, the whole nine, and reached back out. We did a Zoom call maybe 2 days later. And he was like, listen, I work for X company and, this is what I do. And we love what you're doing. We love the direction you're going. I have X amount of dollars, it's 6 figures, to invest into your company. We're going to that'll get you to marketing. That'll get you mass produced. We can get you on Good Morning America. Like, we're going to turn this into the greatest thing in the world. He was like, however, change the packaging. So he didn't talk about ingredients, but he was like, I want to change the packaging. Like, I know I know you have deep meanings in there, but I kind of want to get rid of that. Maybe if we take one of the kids from Nickelodeon and we put him on the cover, and we can still call it Proud Puffs, but, we want to make it a little more shelf friendly. You know what I mean? And I had to turn it down.
Of course.
It was the easiest, hardest thing to do, right?
Right.
Because I'm firm in my morals. I'm firm in my value. I'm firm in my integrity. I'm firm in the intent of why I designed the box the way I did. You know, it's a cereal box. I mean, excuse me, it's a cereal product, of course. But breaking down the design of the box, I addressed colorism. I addressed stereotypes of the absent father. I addressed natural hair bias that women of color have to go through. Like, I addressed so many subtle messages on that actual box.
That's right.
When people pick up on it, and I get messages when they send it to me, my pre-order, they send me my DMs, and they're like, I caught what you did there. You know what I mean? Like, I see that. That's amazing. And I love that. So yes, don't get me wrong. A six-figure check would have been amazing. We could have expedited the process completely. But at the end of the day, I stand firm in why I think this product was given to me. Again, this wasn't my idea.
Right.
So I'm not taking any credit for that.
Right.
This God-given given to me, and then as it built to where it is now, I can't compromise that. It's just
huge. That's huge.
It wouldn't feel right.
And we're rounding third base here.
Okay.
Let's a couple more questions for you. Have you thought about getting any good, rich, natural flavors from other places around the world? Maybe Africa, South America. You know, those places, they've got strong natural flavors. You thought anything about that?
So mainly, the main ingredient, obviously, if you see it, it's cocoa. You know, that's the
really?
That's the main.
Let's go.
So natural cocoa was definitely super important. Outside of that, so what we did to try to combat a large contents of sugar, we used the monk fruit. So monk fruit is like a natural sweetener. Is it a little bit more expensive? Yes.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, yes. So we're still actually, because we're probably not going to officially go into mass production until I want to say maybe March 3rd. So I'm still sitting down with the food scientists. We're still getting samples. We're still tasting. But as of right now, it looks like either monk fruit or agave. Agave is coming second.
Let's go. Let's go.
We want to try something different. We want to be innovative. Honestly, I don't even mind telling the ingredients. Like, the ingredients is what it is. It'll be on the side of a cereal anyway. You know what I mean? So some other brand wanted to start implementing it. You know, kind of is what
they can follow. They can follow. Listen, you're a pioneer. Now,
solidified. It is what it is.
Hey, my daughters will make great taste testers for kids. Noted.
Done deal.
Done deal. What is survival to you?
Survival. Man, that's you're good with these questions. You know what's funny, and I think everyone has their own definition. I think we're kind of like, or at least a majority of my life, and I'm probably still in that space, I think we're still in survival mode. I think we're still trying to navigate our day-to-day life. You know, I still think that we're trying to avoid, like, let's say, for example, God forbid, because I just got that car, but if I got 2 flat tires, you know, where we're in now? We're in January. I got 2 flat tires in January. That's a couple $100. And then, you know, I had engine trouble in February. It's a couple $100. You know what I mean? That could hurt. You know, if I don't set myself up financially, that could hurt me. You know what I mean? Right. So I think we're all, in theory, and I say all that to say, I think we're all in survival mode. I think we're all trying to keep our head above water, because it just takes, unfortunately, there's something that pulls you out of your financial comfort zone. You know what I mean? To put you in that space to where you're like, wow, I really have to find a way to make this happen. I have to find a way to survive it.
That's
right.
You know what
I mean? So I think, unfortunately, we're all in survival mode. Getting up, going to your 9 to 5. You don't necessarily want to do that. You know what I mean? But that's how you survive. That's how you pay your bills. That's how you take care of your family. I think the next step out of that, you know what I mean, is
here.
Yeah.
It's right here. What is success to you?
Success to me is, for me, and I know everyone, I actually had to learn that. I had to learn that everybody has their own different idea of what success, and being okay with it. And that ties back into an earlier conversation that I said I had with friends. But success to me is where I'm headed, you know, generational wealth. You know what I mean? Being able to pass something on to my son, being able to have my nieces, my nephews, my sisters be on the board of the company. You know what I mean? To where it's not just like, oh, this is just a one thing. You know what I mean? To take my sister's student loans and say, no, hand that to me. I got it.
Wow.
Go figure out what you want to do next. You know what I mean? Like live. You know what I mean? Like I've always said that I've dedicated my life to changing everyone else's. And I've been on that mission since I was probably in my early 20s. I haven't taken not too many. I haven't taken vacations. I might have had two vacations. I've gone to Vegas for my birthday, and I've gone to Miami. I haven't left the country yet. You know what I mean? Like I've literally worked my whole life to get to this level of success.
Let's go. I
like that energy.
What's greatness to you? We got 30 seconds left, by the way.
Greatness. Oh man. Greatness, man. You know, and I say this without ego, man, but I feel like greatness is where I'm headed, man. You know, to be able to change and impact culture. And I think that's the biggest thing. When I get a message that says, you know, I love what you're doing for your people. I love the messages that you're saying. I love that how you want to bring everybody together. I love how you want to affect food deserts and bring change. I think is huge. So that's greatness. So someone can say like, he did that. He didn't compromise his morals. He didn't compromise his integrity. He stood firm. You know what I mean? He didn't shake loose for $1. I think that's greatness.
Nick King, I want to let you know. I want to let the people know. We're gonna support you here on the Pride and Empowerment Network's America's Next Motivator. This is always going to be a home for you to bring updates about your brand. This is going to be a home for your brand going forward. I want to let you know I've listened to your story today. I've been inspired. I've been compelled. I've been sprung into action. And I'm going to give you respect today while you're still here to receive it. Ladies and gentlemen, get your crown emojis ready. We're going to give you a crown today while you can still receive it as well. Giving you your crown today. We are letting you know, Nick King, that you, Nick King, are America's Next Motivator.
It's love, man. I appreciate it.
Again, absolutely.
Thank you for sharing your platform with me. You know what I mean? I definitely can't wait to keep you guys updated, you know what I mean, on our progress and what we got going on.
For sure. Thanks for stopping by today, all right?
Thank you, guys.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Each and every episode of America's Next Motivator is going to have something here for you. All you've got to do, just like you did today, is stop by and pick it up.